Hey everybody, welcome to Britpop's Reaction. Me, BP1
hello.
And BP2. Today we are reacting to the 15 Secret Service tactics that are insane.
More insaneness.
Well,
all right.
yeah.
Insane.
Insane.
Okay.
Another one of the lovely requests from Amanda. Thanks
Down
so
there.
much, Amanda, for all your requests. Looking forward to this one when I saw
All
it
right.
popped up, because obviously we touched a bit on the motorcade last time.
Impressive.
And this is the Secret Service tactics. So, yeah, we can see that. I think that's Trump going to be ushered off stage. So, yeah, all right. Looking forward to this one.
I mean, just on that still there, that actually looks like Biden running in to punch him, doesn't it?
He would try, but he'd be like that.
Well, yeah, we're really, really slow. But,
Anyway.
yes. Okay.
Let's get into it.
All right. Let's have a look what's going on.
With defending the President of the United States, tasked with defending the President of the United States, the Secret Service uses amazing tactics to do their jobs. Some of the measures they take may seem crazy, but there's a reason for everything they do. Join me as we take a look at 15 of the most insane Secret Service tactics.
Oh, insane.
Number 15, human shielding. While the
Okay.
president generally has barriers and barricades around him in order to keep out unwanted guests, the Secret Service will generally have some sort of formation that allows them to quickly intercept any threats. While this
Our Prime
tactic
Minister
is
has
rather
that.
basic, it is proven to be extremely important. This is because it was thanks to this shield that Richard Nixon was protected against a Latin American mob, and Ronald Reagan was safeguarded from an assassination attempt. As such, this tactic has become an integral part of Secret Service training. Number 14, tactical driving. In the event of an attack on a presidential vehicle, the Secret Service member in the driver's seat needs to be able to evacuate the area with the president in tow ASAP. In order to do this safely, the drivers are required to be trained in the arts of offensive and defensive driving. These include maneuvers such as the three-wheel J-turn, the ability to reverse accelerate, ramming into other vehicles safely, and driving full speed and in complete control while in reverse. So it goes without saying that this type of S-tier driving puts all the stunt drivers in the Fast and Furious movies to shame.
Yeah.
Number
it's good fun.
13, getting shot.
Getting
Secret
shot.
Service agents have to be prepared for anything
Have to get
on
shot.
the job. So in order to ensure that they can continue to serve even when under fire, one of their training tactics is to get shot with fake bullets. More specifically, the bullets that are shot at them during training exercises. And while they're strong enough to leave a colored trace and a superficial sting, they don't penetrate deep enough to cause any serious damage. This makes them the perfect training tool.
So what I would do, I mean, surely everybody in the Secret Service, surely they're wearing some sort of bulletproof vest, or do you think?
Yeah, but I mean, what they're saying here is you know, to carry on operating under fire, and by firing something at you that's going to hurt, you don't flinch, or you know, you just
you keep
power
going
through, don't you? Yeah. So being exposed to sort of a projectile coming at you and still to sort of continue your duty is a must. Not cower up in a little ball on the ground going, ooh, that's smarted. But yeah, I think, you know, going back to, have you ever watched Clint Eastwood's In the Line of Fire, where he was a Secret Service agent years ago?
Oh, I've seen some of his films.
Yeah,
possibly.
That's where he was a Secret Service agent, and you know that sort of give you an insight to the operations around, you know. But it's good, impressive. I like him.
Number 12,
so far.
they film everything.
Ooh.
Constantly being filmed sounds like something taken right out of the book 1984. But when it comes to the president, this measure is of the utmost importance. Ever since cameras failed to identify President Kennedy's assassin after he was shot in 1963, the Secret Service made a point of meticulously filming every presidential motorcade on camera. While this filming can be used to help identify potential threats, in the case that something bad were to happen, this footage would be invaluable in trying to determine the suspects behind any presidential attack. Number 11, crowd scanning. While meetings at a distance are easy to deal with, some interactions are a little more up close and personal than most. In order to deal with this, the Secret Service are constantly scanning the area around the president to keep an eye on people who have their hands stuffed in their pockets, have strange bulges in their jackets, or who are otherwise
eyes on a swivel, innit?
The sunglasses are their way of doing this undercover, as by being completely black, it's nearly impossible for these suspects to notice that they're being stared at. Therefore, just know that if you ever get to visit the president, you will be constantly watched. Number 10, trip planning. While you've probably made an itinerary to plan your travels from one city to another, the Secret Service brings trip planning to a whole new level. Rather than simply plan a route and then book hotels, Secret Service agents take a very hands-on approach that takes every minor detail into consideration. For example, they will ensure the airspace is clear, map out a motorcade route, plan which presidential vehicles will use it. They'll identify low-risk hotels that can have entire floors booked off, and will be sure to locate hospitals and secure locations en route should the president need to be treated or evacuated to safety. All of this planning generally needs to take place months in advance, and so it should come as no surprise that practically 0 presidential visits are unplanned. Number 9, always
true,
watching.
Didn't realize.
While it may creep you out to imagine someone watching your every move, this is exactly what the president has to deal with on a daily basis. From the time they run on the campaign trail to the time they die, they will always have a security detail, and it's this security detail's task to never take their eyes off the president. And I mean that literally.
Oh, wow.
Whether the president is going to a doctor's appointment, having a meeting with a member of Congress, or going to the bathroom, a Secret Service agent has to be on hand. And while this type of protection is certainly necessary when a president is in office, it can get overbearing afterwards. And as a result, President Nixon went as far as to have it relinquished in 1985, and instead replaced it with his own private security detail. Number 8, Sistema. Secret Service agents are a highly trained military force, and while they generally hope to avoid hand-to-hand combat, they generally neutralize these types of physical threats through a martial art known as Sistema, Russian for system. It's a type of Russian martial art that's known for being extremely brutal. Originally used only by military personnel such as the KGB and Spetsnaz, it emphasizes the use of natural and simple techniques to take advantage of an attacker's biomechanics. More specifically, it's a strong focus on controlling the levers of an attacker and deflecting weapons so that
killing them, I think is.
It's largely because of martial arts such as Sistema that it would be near impossible for any shooter to take out the president at short range in today's day and age, making it a useful skill to know. Number 7, food testing.
Yes, we saw this one, didn't we? Food testing.
Ways to kill a president. And so in order to
that would probably be my face every
time
I was asked to taste
what
something.
Leads to the president's demise, the Secret Service has the task of testing food. While they don't take a bite to test it, what they do instead is monitor the entire cooking process as if it's being done by non-cleared chefs, say at a fancy restaurant. However, there are some exceptions to this rule. For example, if the president is eating at a place like Buckingham Palace, the Secret Service is generally comfortable enough to trust the UK's Secret Service to inspect the food for them. The Secret Service is also lax when it comes to the president's takeout food, as rather than order food right to the White House, they will order it to a building nearby so that the cooks don't know that it's there for the president. Therefore, do not poison it. Number 6, letter testing. While it's easy enough to find someone who makes threatening comments about the president online, doing so for a letter with no return address is much harder. However, despite the challenges, the Secret Service is able to do this by employing a few sneaky tactics. If the letter is handwritten, it can be run under a handwriting scanner, which can be matched to other handwritten documents in their database to determine a potential match. However, if the letter is typed, then the Secret Service reaches out to their ink database. Ink companies apply chemical tags to their ink before it's shipped, and by cross-referencing the letter's ink to the tags, the Secret Service can find out which company sold the ink, what country it's from, what state it's sold in, and allegedly what city the ink was shipped to. This process allows the Secret Service to narrow down their search efforts, and with enough additional sleuth work, this tactic allows them to find the sender. Number 5, threatening to kill the president.
Wow,
The United States is a country with almost complete freedom of the press, and as such, Americans are allowed to criticize their politicians as much as they please. However, the one thing that you absolutely cannot say is that you want to kill the president. Considered to be a Class D felony under United States law, doing so is punishable by up to 5 years in prison, a maximum fine of $250,000, and up to 3 years of supervised release, and internet restrictions such as prohibition on accessing emails. Now, while this may sound pretty heavy-handed, what's perhaps even more interesting is that the Secret Service is very active in terms of enforcement. In order to find potential threats, they constantly scour the internet using advanced technologies in order to find any suspects online, while also relying on reports made by those who say such things out in public. Once a suspect is found, they'll launch a mini investigation and will divide the threat into one of 3 categories. The first type, which are Class 1 threats, are those deemed serious at first but ultimately determined to be harmless. Class 2 threats are considered to be serious but made by people incapable of acting upon them. And Class 3 threats that are considered to be serious and dangerous enough that the agents will have to interview the suspect and any acquaintances of theirs to determine if they truly are a threat. With this in mind, I recommend being extremely careful about what you post about the president online, as if you say something dicey, you might be able to expect a Secret Service agent to be knocking on your door.
They're public, aren't they? They're public available.
Number 4, Marine One.
Marine
When
One.
traveling between cities, sometimes a car isn't all that practical. After all, American presidents typically need to have a large motorcade around them, and in all honesty, it's often easier and less expensive to simply let the president travel by air. As a result, a helicopter that goes by the code name Marine One is often used to transport the president from place to place, with a helicopter by the code name of Marine Two often being used in the same capacity for the vice president. Now, technically speaking, any aircraft carrying the president or vice president can get their Marine code names. However, with the helicopters in question, they're typically HMX-1 Nighthawks, which consist of either large Sikorsky VH-3D Sea King helicopters or the newer, smaller VH-60N White Hawk helicopters. In either case, there are usually as many as 5 helicopters used, as all the ones not carrying the president will typically act as decoys, shuffling around with the presidential helicopter in order to obscure which one he's truly in. Yet the Secret Service's security measures don't stop there. That's because Marine One is also equipped with an anti-missile countermeasure system, such as flares to counter heat-seeking missiles, chaff to counter radar-guided missiles, and an infrared jammer to protect against infrared missiles. In addition to this, every member of the HMX-1 is required to pass a specialized Yankee White background check before touching any of the helicopters used for presidential travel, ensuring both the helicopter's equipment and the president himself cannot be tampered with. When considered in tandem, it's these countermeasures that enable a president's flight from place to place is as safe as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest risk,
White
though, isn't
House
it?
security. Given that the White House is the home of the president, it's an extremely difficult home to get into. If you'd like a tour, it is legal to get a look around a few carefully selected parts of the facility, although you must book 21 days in advance so that the Secret Service can do a background check on you. However, if you happen to be someone who's not on a scheduled visit, then you'll have a far more difficult time finding your way inside. You see, every inch of the perimeter is surrounded in a complex set of infrared lasers that cover the sky, surface, and underground. They're sensitive enough to detect even the most minuscule of threats. And while this means that sometimes something as small as a squirrel can cause Secret Service agents to storm into the White House, it means that no threats go uninvestigated. Above ground, the airspace of Washington, D.C. is considered to be a no-fly zone, so if anyone or anything enters this area, a team of drones and a set of sensors will pick it up, and if necessary, there are several surface-to-air missiles that can be dispatched to deal with the threat. As a final resort, the White House also has a high fence and bulletproof windows, making it a very difficult place to enter. However, despite the security, several people have managed to enter the White House uninvited. Some, such as Omar Gonzalez, has used violence. Others, such as Robert Latta, were able to simply walk past all security. As such, it's technically possible to find a way around security and enter the White House. But yeah, good luck with that.
Do you recall the headline here, the Queen? Yeah, the bloke that got into the Queen's bedroom.
And had a conversation with her.
Yeah,
Yeah. She climbed over the fence, got through a window,
Wimbledon,
found her bedroom, and had a chat.
Sat down and had a chat.
Could have been a hell of a lot worse, couldn't it?
Wow. Just goes to show all the security out there, and I mean that place has got big eye fences and shed loads of troops, and some guy just bimbled in there. That's
it. Somehow, I mean, obviously as technology advances, it gets harder and harder. But I mean, like I say, there's still deliveries need to be done. There's still movement around.
Day-to-day activity. Yeah.
There's opportunities. So
All right.
Number 2, Air Force One. The President of the United States typically has to visit multiple countries during their term, so the Secret Service has to furnish an airplane that's able to comfortably make international trips. And while Air Force One can technically refer to any plane that the President flies in, the title is most often designated to one of 2 very highly customized Boeing 747-200B series aircraft. Now, these aircraft are perhaps best known for having a virtually unlimited range, as they have the remarkable ability to be able to be refueled mid-air. The 2 planes are also extremely secure, as they have onboard electronics that protect against electromagnetic pulses and coded communications equipment that allow the aircraft to function as a mobile command center in the event of an attack on the United States. Yet besides the intense security, the plane is also extremely luxurious.
The size of it is so big.
Of about 370 square meters of floor space spread across 3 stories. With this including an extensive suite for the President that features a large office, bathroom, and a conference room. Air Force One also includes a medical suite that can function as an operating room, and a doctor is permanently present in order to serve the needs of all on board.
Right, yeah.
If the plane's visitors get hungry too, they can rely on Air Force One's 2 food preparation galleys, which have the capacity to feed 100 people at any given time. Best of all, when you consider that the plane has separate quarters for the President's advisors and a detachment of cargo planes to provide the President with everything he could ever need, it becomes clear that this plane is the epitome of luxury.
Hotel in the sky.
Oh yeah.
When it comes to safe travel, nothing quite beats the presidential vehicle, nicknamed the Beast. It's a limousine
I'll give it a
that's
different
made to look
nickname
like a Cadillac, but outside of its headlamps, tail lamps, and the grille design, the car itself is far from your typical Caddy. Driven by the Secret Service, the Beast takes things up a notch by sporting a chassis, diesel engine, and transmission that are similar to those used on GM's heavy-duty commercial vehicles.
Wow.
As a result, the Beast comes in at a whopping 9,000 kilograms, has a max speed of just 100 kph, and an efficiency of about 3.5 kilometers per liter. However, outside of its rather poor specs, the Beast is by all accounts a world-class vehicle. For example, the car's doors are reportedly 20 centimeters thick and weigh as much as the doors found on a Boeing 787.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Impenetrable against outside threats. The security is reinforced by the car windows, which are bulletproof and about 13 centimeters thick. And the underbody, which is made out of a reinforced 13-centimeter steel plate that can fend off roadside bombs. The tires are reportedly run flats made from super high-strength Kevlar, which means that they function even after being punctured. Interestingly enough, the car's protection even extends to its interior, as if faced with a chemical attack, the inside of the car can be completely contained, as the fuel tank can surround itself with a special foam material in order to insulate it from outside threats. And if the president ever gets in a really messy situation, the trunk of the car is fully stocked with tear gas canisters, shotguns, grenade launchers, oxygen tanks, night vision cameras, and a cache of the president's blood type, with all of this being used by a squad of Secret Service agents when necessary. In other words, the car really is ready for anything. Yet it's also important to note that the Beast has its own fair share of problems. That's because despite being as tough as it is, it's notoriously difficult to drive and prone to breaking down. As a result, it's only ever released on rare occasions that require added security. Watch our binge-watching playlist.
Sounds like something the A-Team cooked up, doesn't it?
It does. But, funny.
Like I say, with the amount of weight, I guess that keeps the top speed down. But generally, they're sort of going pretty slow in a motorcade anyway, aren't they? And then if they
there's too many things to go wrong.
On that.
I mean, to be fair, like I'm sure if you sat in it, you'd feel safe as houses. But at the same time, so much that can go wrong probably does, like you said.
All right. Well, there you go. A couple of those we've covered on the previous 2 videos that Amanda sent us.
Yes.
Insane White House secrets and insane motorcade ones, or something like that. A lot of insaneness going on. But very good, very insightful. Any other ones sort of similar to that? Maybe not about the president, but armed forces or other bits and pieces that you may think we will find interesting. Please let us know.
But it's good about the Secret Service because obviously you know about the Secret Service, but you don't know necessarily all the bits that go. So that's good. A good number that's been covered there, and I'm sure there's a lot more we don't know about as well. So good.
Some really secret Service stuff.
Oh, very top Secret Service stuff.
On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
I know. All right, thank you so much for joining us
Amanda.
at BritPops React. We'll be back tomorrow for another reaction. Until then, goodbye from me.
Goodbye from the beast.